hello to all of you unconventional conventionists out there. Welcome to Rocky Talkie. We're the Rocky Horror Podcast that talks about anything and everything Rocky Horror. I'm Aaron.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm Meg.
And I'm Jam.
All right, guys. This has been a hell of a week for all of us. I know that there has been a lot of con hangover, at least in our house. What have we all been doing? Do we get up to anything fun in between to, trying to fix our sleep schedules?
I have not gotten up to much, listeners. I've been in a computer program thingy, learning to code and hopefully get a real person job. And so I've been doing a lot of work involved in that specifically. Right now I am making a full stack project, which is a copy of a popular website. The website I chose is Tumblr. That's how you know I'm not very cool. I feel like Tumblr is not a website for cool people.
No.
It's mostly furry porn, right?
It used to be. They got rid of the porn, and then everything went downhill, and now it's just safe for work furry stuff, which is even worse.
Wow.
Other than that, boopity boop boop boop. Oh my god! This is crazy to me. I got caught stealing at a Whole Foods. I have been stealing from Whole Foods my entire goddamn life. And there have been some close calls, but just close calls on myself. Just me thinking oh my god, it's going to happen this time. They're going to get me. But never any actual close calls because it's Whole Foods and who gives a shit.
Yeah.
But fucking shit, they're on their game. I was checking out and doing what I do, and I had multiple items, but I only scanned one.
Yeah.
And a lady just tapped me on the shoulder and was like, "Hey, you should pay for that too." And fucking, of course I did, because I don't have the balls to just be like, "No, I'm not gonna do that." It's okay though. The very next day, I went to a different Whole Foods and I stole there, so it hasn't wrecked my spirit. But man, it was like a mind fuck. Shit, they can catch you at Whole Foods.
I'm surprised anyone gave enough of a shit to even expend the energy to walk up to you and formulate words. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. This is a lady I often steal from this Whole Foods.
Yeah.
I go there on my lunch break, and this lady walks up and down the self-checkout aisle. She is the person always there doing it, so I imagine she has an allegiance to the role, and she wants to be the best. So she is on her guard and she is watching out, because at other Whole Foods, I have smiled at cashiers who have noticed me. There was one lady a few weeks ago, I paid $2, and you could see $2 on the screen for multiple bags of groceries. And this lady saw it and looked at me, smiled, shook her head, and I smiled back, and she just walked away. And it was a great time. It was just a little secret between us. She knew what was going on. She worked there. She didn't give a shit. She didn't say nothing. It was great. Can't always be that lucky, though.
I used to work in retail, and I would watch people just take stuff and walk out the door with it all the time, and that's not my fucking problem. So this woman sucks.
You are a saint.
I just don't care. It's not my stuff. You're not stealing from my house. You're stealing from the Old Navy. Whatever. I don't give a shit. I'd go back with a pair of glasses and a fake mustache.
Oh, don't worry. I switch out wearing my glasses and wearing a mask and having a hood on my head to come across as a different person each time. Because I am a little neurotic that maybe they have a camera system in place and it'll pick up on me stealing things. And because there's that, I don't know if it's a rumor or a truth thing, that Target keeps track of how much you steal up to $500 and will not apprehend you beforehand. But at $500, they go for you. And I'm worried Whole Foods has a similar thing going on.
That sounds like a rumor that Target started,
Yeah, good point.
I would be very surprised if any of these places gave enough of a crap to install technology, facial recognition technology.
Okay, since all this is getting cut anyway, you didn't pay for it, so there's no way they can track how much you stole. There's nobody with a fucking clipboard who's pretty sure that guy had 2 extra batteries in there.
Right, but in the universe that he's talking about, they have technology that is able to keep track of your face and also the items that you didn't pay for.
The Amazon stores that recently closed. That was their whole thing. You checked in and the store kept track of what you pulled out and automatically charged it to your account.
Wherever we cut this, we'll go with Rocky Talkie does not condone theft, even from our Lord and Savior, Jeff Bezos.
I think Rocky Talkie doesn't really have a stance on stealing. Do what you gotta do, man. Live your life.
Well, I didn't steal anything this week, but it was a pretty good week for me. Let's see. I did a ton of work, a whole ton of work. And also, was catching up on all the stuff that we've been slacking on since con. I know that this episode's dropping a little late, and we got some other stuff coming up real quick. But it's been a lot of catching up. Fun thing though, we got a phone call from Fierro asking us to help clear out a storage unit of his this last weekend. So of course, I'm not going to say no to that. We went and helped him out along with Phil, who's been on the show before. And Sal had a lot of very interesting things in there. It wasn't his storage unit. It was a friend of his. Anyway, long story short, I ended up coming away with a couple of really neat things. A bunch of pins, old Rocky Horror pins, including one with Sal's face on it that was super cool. A really neat fan club membership card before the ones that I'd even seen. I had never seen one that looked like this before. This is from like 77, 78, somewhere in there, kind of thing. And also a whole box of old letters that people had written to the fan club. So I'm very excited to dig through those and see how crazy all you bastards were from the early 90s.
My favorite part of the day was we walked into the storage unit and he immediately is like, does anybody want, and he didn't call it this, he said like the 70s version of it, and I can't remember what it was, but he proffered to us like a Leather Daddy club hat and was like, does anybody want a Leather Daddy clubbing hat? To which my response was like, yeah, absolutely. So we have one of these now, and it's adorable.
There is some crazy stuff in it. There's probably like 2,000 plus vinyl albums, tons of books, lots of clothes, all sorts of stuff that, got to sift through and unload and all that kind of stuff. But it was super fun. Lots of vintage stuff. And if you know Meg and I, you know that we love antiquing and going through vintage stuff. So this was a fun trip.
Yeah.
And gotta have fun, talk about some Rocky shit while we were doing it.
That's really cool. You guys helped Fierro move. I don't know, do anything. Like, he seems like such a big figure with such a large community around him from just what I saw at con. That's pretty cool that you're like that niche in his circle.
Yeah, he's just a sweet old man.
He called me sweetheart and offered to take me for ice cream.
Aw.
Yeah. So we're like tight. It's cool. We text. No biggie.
What about you, sweetie? What do you got going on this week?
I started a new job 2 days after con. So that was a thing. I
Dumbass.
got home and slept all of Tuesday, and then Wednesday started my job. So that was fun. I won't dox myself, but I work for a subsidiary of a very famous mouse. So that's been fun.
Mighty Mouse?
Yeah, Mighty Mouse is my boss, you guys. And I work on podcasts.
God.
I work on true crime podcasts. So not a far departure.
Oh, Mighty Mouse en Espanol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mighty Mouse with the cartel. I talk about his life and times. Running coke.
Must be really easy. He's so fast.
Yeah. Zips across
Best
the
Coke
border.
mule you've ever met. Yeah.
All right, guys. Now that that's out of the way, let's dive into our first segment.
Global news.
Global news. Dun, 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 dun.
First up in global news, our favorite Australian disco ball, Nell Campbell, has been busy. She's promoting the hell out of her new one-woman show, All's Nell That Ends Nell, Columbia's Rocky Horror Confessional. I love this. This is great. In a recent Facebook post, Nell writes,
Darlings, do come and see me alive on stage, sharing behind-the-scenes shenanigans of all things Rocky Horror and Nell's My New York Nightclub. I have dived deep into my photo albums to illustrate the giddy times and, of course, a Q&A to answer that question you have wanted answered for so very long, so dust off your sequins and join me.
Wow. Wow, Jacob.
That was a great accent. I feel like she's going to try to sell
Nell?
me violets.
Oh, right on.
Oof. But, like, how disgustingly cute is that fucking all's Nell that ends Nell? Give me a break. We know that she loves to interact with her Rocky fans, so this just seems totally up her alley. Nell recently did an interview with Q News where she gets real hype about the show and talks about it in a little bit more detail. And in that interview, she says,
What I'm going to do is I've been taking photos forever, and so I've got lots of incredible photos to share, so I'm just going to be telling everyone about those, talking about Rocky Horror, and talking about my nightclub nails in New York with lots of photos and stories. People can ask me questions, and we'll just have a goddamn good time.
I know that Tony Pazuzu and Mark Jabbar have been helping her out with some of the research for this. This is super cool.
aw, have they really?
They totally are. Her interviewer did make a point of asking whether we'd be seeing her break out her tap dance shoes during the show, to which Nell coyly replied,
We'll see!
Thank you, Jacob, for that. So, any of our listeners who are in and around the Gold Coast or Brisbane, Australia, go check out Nell's show on October 14th and 15th. It sounds like a really fun way to kick off the Halloween season, and we hope that we get all the intel from anyone who attends. Or, maybe Nell, you need to bring that show to the US? Yeah?
That would be fun.
As always, we've got the deets, including where to buy tickets, linked for you in our show notes. Next up in community news, we want to bid a fond farewell to Ron Barlow, who passed away on August 9th at the age of 73. Ron made major contributions to the Rocky Horror community by editing the Rocky Horror Scrapbook and the poster magazines. These are two pieces that any Rocky collector definitely has sitting in their treasure troves.
He also worked on reprinting the weird fantasy comic books, including the one that's featured in the Criminologist book. You know, the one that looks like watermelon. That's there, in part, because of Ron.
Ron linked up with our community around 12 years ago when he made friends with Larry Vizel. He was running an antique shop in New Mexico at the time, and while he knew there was some serious Rocky Horror collectors out there in the world, he didn't have an in until he met Larry.
Since then, he's been doing the Lord's work by hooking up Rocky junkies with delicious old paraphernalia. He's been a really phenomenal asset to our community, and unfortunately, his presence will be missed. Ron, we appreciate everything you've done for Rocky Horror, and we'll see you on the other side.
And last up in global news, if you're feeling sad, why not try some retail therapy? Jebsen's Malort has recently started offering a My First Word onesie so that your baby can rep our favorite beverage, Malort. It's adorable. It's a little tiny black onesie that features block letters that children might play with. They spell out Malort. So, I don't know what to say to this. Yeah.
I think I know of a baby that might have one of these onesies in their future.
I think we do.
Christmas present.
So
Meg
all right.
and Aaron are going heavily off script, and I'm pretty sure this is the beginning of Meg's Kaczynski arc, so watch out, everybody.
So if you happen to know somebody, too, who might have a baby in or around their life, in their future, in their present, and that baby needs to be more hardcore, you could check out this onesie at jebsonsmalort.weebly, which we will link for you in our show notes. It's adorable and will be the perfect addition to any infant.
And with that, I think it's time for some community news.
So, first up, right off of Con Mega Weekend, I think we all know what's going to go on here. We're going to recap the biggest thing to happen within our community since the start of the Panda Express. Con happened, and it was every bit as awesome as I hoped it would be. Now, We all know that everyone's con experience tends to be vastly different depending on how involved you are in performances. Whether you're an early bird, a partier, or the rare early bird night owl, I'll sleep when I'm dead combo, you people especially are troopers.
So we thought it would be fun to do a rundown of how our respective cons went. Obviously, Aaron and I had a lot of overlap. But Jacob, I feel like we barely saw you.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time playing Heads Up with Andrea, and that was so much fun.
Heads Up? Like the card game?
It's a game on the phone. It's like it shows different topics, and you put it on your head, so only the people around you can see it.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
the people around you.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun.
We did it so much that we started just like thinking of random things in our heads and trying to get the other to guess what it is. We like fuck the phone entirely. Just I would think of a pumpkin and try to guess the word pumpkin.
Well, I think we
That's
called
pretty
that
great.
20 questions, that game.
No, she doesn't ask me any questions though. I say things and she just guesses.
Oh, okay, fun. All right.
Yeah.
Meg and I checked in on Wednesday, and then like the first thing, right as soon as we got there, was Buffy and the Rocky Horror Punk Show. These were fucking great. I love Buffy. I think Buffy's fantastic. There were a lot of awesome people that were doing it, and I gotta chat with a bunch of them afterwards. Where'd you get your shirt? Where'd you get this? Oh, I love that part. I love it. I love Buffy. I was blown away by the Punk Show though. Holy shit. I had never seen that before, and that thing fucking rocked.
It was so good. Like, oh my god. I've never seen an adaptation that good. It was tight. It would be great for like a club.
Yeah, perfect kind of club show. Definitely check out the video for that when it drops over on RKO's YouTube.
Did you check out any of that, Jacob? You were at the bar, right? The AS220?
Yeah, I was at the bar just for a little bit. I said hi to some people I knew. I met a few new faces. I think I saw Gretchen for like the second time in my life. I met a few other couples. I think I met the lady who was the lead for one of the pre-shows with the pre-show with the French song with a bunch of people dancing in corsets very very sexily. I met I think, because this is what Andrea told me, I think I met the lady who was like in charge of that on stage that night.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jamie from Buffalo. That's fantastic. Yeah, I loved getting to see her and Ryan again, man. Fucking love out to Buffalo. Love you guys.
Yeah!
So Thursday, we got to check out Fred's amazing panel. It was super informative on fundraising for casts, which is definitely something that our cast could benefit from and probably will very soon.
Oh yeah, talked with Fred a bunch about it afterwards. I was real sad that I didn't get up early enough to see Hank's panel about 501c3s. Hopefully that one will go up on YouTube at some point and I can actually check that out. But yeah, no, this was super great. Great panel. Loved every minute of it.
And then in the evening, we got Hedwig, which was so exciting. Oh my gosh. I've never seen a Hedwig Shadowcast before, and it worked so well. All of the performers were like fucking electric. Allie from Buffalo, what an incredible job playing Hedwig. Holy shit.
I mean, everybody was fucking ridiculous. I was riveted to it the whole way through. Like, I've seen Hedwig Shadowcast before, but never with the amount of detail and costumes and choreography, like just everything that came through in this show. This was a fucking smash success. I really hope we keep doing Hedwig at conventions.
Yeah, shout out to Nick and Eric from NYC RHPS. You guys were fantastic in that show. I was blown away. My God, that was incredible. I have never seen the movie version of Hedwig, and until Con Weekend, I did not realize that Hedwig was a movie. I thought it was just a stage show, and I teared up at several parts. It was like heart-wrenching. So beautiful, so gorgeous, so many of the outfits and the costume pieces. One of the, not one of the main people, but one of the like instrumentalists in the band, who was the drums and had like a drum set on their body the whole time. I thought that was fucking hilarious. Oh my God, that was incredible, and you were my favorite part of that show, bar none. So good job to you.
And then after Hedwig, we had my fucking favorite part of any convention, Rocky's Got Talent. That was fun as shit. Oh my God, I love a talent show, and I especially love Rocky people talent shows because everyone is so ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know that this is like nepotism, but getting to see Jack Sullivan do his whole routine again after, I mean, honestly, after weeks, because I see him at Coney Island perform all the time, but he used to do similar routines on stage for our cast as a pre-show. So getting to watch that happen in like that sort of rocky environment was very nostalgic and fun for me.
Absolutely loved it. But the night was not over yet. The room happened.
Oh my god. Did it happen? I feel like it happened to all of us.
You know, I hadn't seen the room live before, and now I want nothing more than to see the room live again and again, because that was like the quintessential, like, what I think Rocky would be like, you know, if I didn't fucking know so much about it, and I'm just sitting there going, what the fuck, time to throw spoons? Spoons! Like, oh, it was so good. It was so good.
It wasn't even shadowcasting. They didn't even shadowcast it. They performed the room, and
The
sometimes
room
didn't
live on
speak,
stage.
right? Yeah. Like, sometimes the dialogue happened from the movie, but like, wow, that was a whole ass performance. Nobody phoned anything in. You couldn't have, otherwise it wouldn't have been as ridiculous as it was.
Did you stay for the room?
No, I saw Hedwig, and then, oh god, that was a delicious night. I had such a good time that night. Oh my god. So me and Andrea saw Keely that night, and we, with her, I think, watched Hedwig. And then after Hedwig, me and Keely and Andrea just walked around the area. There was a cool little church and a little hill thingy. We went to this nice little pretzel place. Oh my god, I kicked their ass at foosball. It was fantastic. Thursday was also the day of board games. In the early afternoon, board games started at like 2 or something pretty early for con days, I'm sure. Me and Andrea were down there like white on rice. We love board games. I met this great dude named Bill. Shout out Bill. He had like 17 board games just stacked on a table the entire
Love
day.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I started my day playing Puerto Rico, which is really fun. It's
Yeah.
yeah,
Great
it was,
game.
Yeah. It was like a less complex version of Mars. I thought it was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went about my day, and while the talent show was happening and probably a little bit of The Room, I played this game, Betrayal at the House on the Hill, 3rd edition. And it was it was really fun. Like, I had a really, really good time with the people I was playing with, because it was like artsy and creative, and like there were so many cards with flavor, and I find that really fun. But the game itself was like really skewed. Like, there's one person who's the bad guy and the rest are the good guys. And there was no way, like pretty early on, it was obvious there was no way the bad guy was going to win. But still, such a blast. Thank you, Bill. And to all you other people I met, and for names I have forgotten, you are still alive in my hearts. But I have a terrible brain that doesn't remember letters. So there's that.
Oh, that sounds like a fun fucking time. I really like that they did the, you know, the alternate stuff during the days and everything to, you know, fill in some of that time. That's fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah. While all that like rocky stuff was going on, I still felt like I was, you know, part of the community and part of everything that was going on, even though I was just playing board games, which is, you know, not super duper Rocky-esque, not performing on stage or watching a performance, but I still felt ingrained.
Yeah, that's cool as hell,
awesome.
man.
And on Friday, we got up bright and early to prep for the highlight of the whole convention, our panel!
It wasn't quite that crazy, but yeah.
It was that crazy, you old fart, okay? It was so much fun. I was kind of worried that we wouldn't have a lot of people, because I felt like, oh man, you know, we're a podcast, and we're a great podcast, and we put so much work into this, but we're still just a podcast, you know, up against all the incredible things happening at con. You know, we're not a Shadowcast of The Room or Repo Man, you know, and we're also like. Yeah, and we were like early in the day, and then we got so many people, and I saw a few familiar faces, but also a bunch of new ones, and I got to meet a lot of people, and I thought that was absolutely fantastic. And Jesus Christ, the amount of work and special and like just shit you put into this, Aaron, was, I mean, blows my mind. Just to think about and to have performed it, so incredible. And I cannot applaud you enough, because it was such a good piece. It was like a piece of theater, you know? It was a podcast recording and a regular script like anything else, but the amount of research and finding shit you put into it really showed, and I think made it a fantastic episode.
Yeah,
Aw,
absolutely.
thank you for sucking my dick. And anybody out there who hasn't checked it out yet, it should be the episode right before this. So go check it out when you're done with this one. Our RKOCon 4 panel, all about Cinderella Rock. I had a fuck ton of fun putting it together. And honestly, that whole thing went off without a hitch. Like, fucking props to Keither for having the tech set up so well that I was literally able to just hand him my laptop and push go on my phone, and it worked the whole time. I was blown away.
Yeah, everything just came together so well. I don't know about you, Jacob, but sweetie, you and I spent the whole night beforehand just going over things and prepping and being stressed out, especially you. And then we got there and everything just seamlessly
Just worked.
came together. It was great. We
Yep.
set up our stuff. We did the thing. People were there, which was the best part, and everyone seemed to really enjoy it.
See, big shout out to Roy. Thank you for putting us right before the costume panel.
Right? Yeah.
Which, yeah, that was fucking great. I caught a bunch of the costume panel. Ton stuff from Becky and Nick and Brandon and Zephyr and Savannah. Like, oh, that was a great panel. I loved seeing Frank Jackets represent. Like, oh, it was so cool. So fun to look at. And yeah, it was awesome to hear Becky talk about all of the crazy shit that they're doing out there in Michigan. Just the insane costumes that she puts together for all of their shows. It's so cool. And Savannah talking about wigs and how to keep all that stuff. Like, I cannot wait to get a more dedicated wig panel. I know she's been doing some stuff over on John's Twitch stream where she's styling some wigs and stuff. So definitely take a look at Hi John, I'm Dad and see when she's doing some of that kind of stuff for content.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that there's been talk about possibly doing like full dedicated panels or like tutorials or like watch me while I work kind of situations they've been looking at. So that would be cool in the future, because you could talk about it all you want, but I feel like at a certain point, getting that hands-on, especially for something like wigs or makeup, is going to be the most helpful thing, and they're great for that.
But while I had time to check that out, you were scrambling.
Yeah, I didn't get to see any costume, anything. I was scrambling upstairs getting my own costumes together for Amber's suite for Repo. That bitch has a million costumes. so those are the ones I was focused on. Yeah, I think I had like 5 costume and full wig changes for that show, and I had made some like bloody latex faces, which I painted liquid latex onto my own face, which apparently you're not supposed to do because your skin gets very, very dry if you do that. But it all worked out. Repo was fun as fuck. I had never performed in it before. What a scramble it was, but it was great. Shout out to fucking Ryan and Morello. They came up to me before the show and they were like, "We're Amber's bodyguards, and we'll just like keep you posted throughout the show on what you're supposed to be doing," because I didn't fucking know. I've never done this show. And they warned me when I had like 2 scenes to go before my next appearance. And they were like, "Listen, just so you know, we're going to walk out and then you're going to do this thing and then we're going to come back in, okay? And then you have like forever before your next change." They were so sweet.
That's so great. I fucking love that.
It was awesome. They made it so easy.
You were so great. It was so nice to like just see a friend in a show. I mean, and your costumes were so good too. That was so great. Thank you so much.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I loved Repo. Repo was fantastic. I'm always blown away with the quality of costumes and the shadowcasting in that. Like, the people who do Repo really fucking love Repo. And it shows. It shows in how well they know the movie. It shows in how well they, have put so much effort in to get these insanely expensive and complicated costumes. And just how much fucking fun everybody has while they're doing that. It just resonates off the stage, and I loved it. It was a great show.
We made friends with the guy who was killed multiple times in
Stress
the show.
Banana.
Oh, what?
Stress Banana. Chris.
Stress Banana.
Yeah.
Chris.
Yep.
From
All right, cool, yeah.
JCCCP.
Yep.
Shout out Chris. He was hilarious to watch getting murdered. And what Aaron was saying about like it's incredible how much to see how much these people enjoy Repo and like the effort they put in. Watching Rocky and watching like the costumes, for so many years, it loses its dazzle. Like it's obvious people put so much work into their Rocky costumes and into their corsets and into everything. But like your eyes kind of gloss over because it's hard to be amazed by the same thing 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
But Repo, it was so new to me. And like watching that and watching all these incredibly inventive costumes straight from this movie was like mind blowing. It was like my second awakening, Jesus rebirth of shadowcasting, whatever you want to call it. I have like this massive drive now to at the next con or wherever I can just be a part of another shadowcast because to create something like that would be so fulfilling, I feel like. And congrats to everyone who did.
Yeah, it's fun. You should totally... I had never done it either. This was my first con where I performed as anything other than fucking Betty Monroe. And it was stressful because you gotta like learn it, but it was fun as shit, man. Like 10 out of 10, would recommend.
Oh yeah, I loved Repo. It was so much fun, and it was so much fun that it tuckered me right out. After Repo finished, I had to go have a lie down. I was so fucking exhausted. Hadn't slept the night before very well because of, going through our panel a million times. And I was just running on empty. So I went and crashed. I didn't catch the video pre-shows because I was like, okay, if there's one thing that'll be online later, it'll probably be those. Jacob, did you get to catch the video pre-shows?
I did not, unfortunately. I forget what I got up to right at that point. But I know the FNS one, Andrea told me about the what if Rocky went differently wrong video pre-show. And we watched that, and I thought that was pretty hilarious.
Oh, yeah, that was super funny. I checked that one out. They posted that online already.
Yeah, we watched it at the con, but not at the event, unfortunately.
So cool. But yeah, and all you people out there that have video pre-shows, post them online. Make sure everybody gets to see them because I know that you guys put so much fucking effort into them, and I want to see them.
Yeah, we were just tired, man. So after nap time, we dipped back down to the ballroom to check out Shocky, which was fun as fuck. Oh yeah, God.
Shock treatment. God, I love shock treatment. It's kind of a well-oiled machine at this point, right? Like, it's amazing to me that you can have a show like Shocky, which has 35, 40 people in it, and it just goes so cleanly, and so everybody just has so much fun. I don't know. There's a reason shock treatment is an absolute staple at conventions, and this was a convention performance that just reiterated that fact.
Yeah, Shocky was so much fun. So many times at this con, I cannot count them with my two hands. So many times that Sam the Hobo was in a Shadowcast, the audience erupted in cheers. Yeah. And for the most part, I was like, who cares? So what? Who cares? They're like of a certain age and they look a little spiffy. But in that fucking white suit, God damn, I was right there with everyone else out of my seat fucking whooping in the air.
Right. Oh my God.
And that scene towards the end where Psycho Suit Brad and White Suit person have the like face off and the fight and they were walking around each other. Jesus Christ! I was like hyped up. I felt like I was at a fucking football game and cared about the winners. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I fucking love shock treatment. I fucking love White Suit Farley. Like, oh, so good. So good. Sam, God damn it.
The number of people who came up to me during this con to be like, yo, Sam the Hobo is hot as fuck. And I was like, yeah, I know. But I spent a lot of the con hanging out with their fiance, Trey. So he was in earshot all the time. And I just thought it was hysterical.
So yeah, shock treatment happened. That was fun.
And then after Shocky, we dipped back upstairs to our hotel room to get some more Reefer Madness rehearsal in because we were leads in that show, which was daunting.
Yeah, I over prepared for our con panel, and boy did I under prepare for Reefer.
But we had a rehearsal in our hotel room. That was fun, a dance rehearsal. So we were up there for a couple of hours doing that with some of the cast members. And then we came back down for Drag Race, which was fucking dope. Loved watching that. Harley and Creature Feature did an incredible job of putting that together. I know they were both a little bit stressed about it, but wow, it came together so well. And I gotta say, separating the talent show from the drag show was like the best decision anyone's ever made because they're both such niche events where you'd think there's overlap, but there's enough separation that you want them to be two separate events, right? You want that drag show environment where people are like sitting at the foot of the screen, clapping and throwing money and handing performers dollars. That's so different from like the vibe of the talent show where you're sitting there watching a performance happen. The drag show was interactive. It was so lively. You had the performers coming down into the audience and just like living their best lives. It was wonderful to watch.
That was definitely a party. I think it's the only time I bought booze at the hotel bar. The entire time was during the drag show because I was like, I don't want to leave and go back to my room to refill my cup. I guess I will buy a $12 beer, whatever the hell they were. Yeah. I don't know. It was cash only. What the fuck is that, Hilton? But I didn't want to miss a minute of it.
Yeah, and then the drag show just sort of evolved into a dance party, which was really fun. And we chilled. We spent the evening hanging out together. We were on the patio. We were listening to music. I don't remember who the DJ was that night, but they were great.
Oh, yeah. It was super, super fun. I think I crashed a little bit early because we had to be up the next morning bright and early for more Reefer Madness rehearsal in order to make sure we knew what the fuck we were doing because that show was at 1 p.m.
Yeah. And I went to bed in a panic. Like, I panicked myself to sleep the night before because I was like, what if I forget everything about this show? But I woke up Saturday morning and somehow May had like osmosised herself into my brain and I was like, oh, no, I got this. I actually know everything. I'm so good. Let's just do it.
Oh, man. If that's a success story, let me tell you, I had probably the most panic-inducing, stressful show fuck up I have had in literally decades. So I'm doing Jack in Reefer Madness, and Jack has a couple of costume changes. One of them's changing a shirt and changing a tie, and the other one is stripping the shirt and just having his wife beater on.
So easy, easy peasy.
Easy as hell. Absolutely. You have plenty of time to do it. Yeah, as long as you can tie a tie, you're fine on the first one, and the second one is literally just stripping stuff off, putting stuff on. Great. I was like, this is so easy. I'm not even going to practice these costume changes. It's fine. So I get through the show, and like, I can feel, I'm a little on edge, because like, I don't know everything the way that I want to know everything. I'm kind of missing a few things, missing a few beats. Big shout out to everybody that was performing in Reefer Madness. Thank you for fucking covering for the lack of shit that I knew, and just doing amazing performances. But it comes to this change, and I go in back, and I unbutton the shirt, and I pull it off, and I stand there with the shirt dangling off my hands, inverted in the sleeves. Because I forgot to take the goddamn cufflinks off before I took the shirt off. And now, my hands are stuck inside the sleeves of this shirt, and I cannot get the cufflinks off. So I'm wandering around backstage with this shirt hanging off of me, walking up to whoever I can. I think Sam was back there. I go, Sam, help, 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 help. Sam's like, I have no idea what to do with this. Tries to tug at it, can't get it off, can't do anything. I can hear all of my time for this infinitely length costume change slowly ticking away. Eventually, I can hear where my cue is supposed to be on stage, and I go, fuck, I have to get on stage, I have to do something. Fortunately, Keisha's walking backstage, and Keisha goes, "Is there a problem?" And I go, "Thanks." Keisha goes, "Shirt's got to come off, right?" I go, "Yeah." She's like, "Absolutely no problem." Gets down on the floor with me, props her foot up against, and just starts ripping and tugging at it until eventually my poor little hands, poop, somehow stretch the thing far enough that they slide out of it, and I just scramble on stage for the next scene. Meanwhile, you're standing there like, where the fuck's Jack?
Me and Sally are like singing to each other, having a great time, cowering behind ourselves from Ralph.
And I get up there, and we're doing the whole thing, and I realize I never had time to put the damn shoulder holster back on, so I don't have the gun, and I've got to kill Ralph. Fortunately for me, my cheat sheet of notes is sitting on my phone in my pocket. So Ralph, instead of getting shot, just gets phoned at for a little bit. Oh, I was able to race back and slap on the suspenders and the gun holster and get back for the next bit. But I was so flustered. And then by the time that I'm like coming in back to do the costume change into this horrible bag George Washington costume that I bought on Amazon for like $50, I am just so frazzled, it's not even funny. Like, Meg calmed me down and was like, just put the pants on and go do the dance. And I'm like, all right, I don't know this dance either, but it's fine. There's other people on this stage that do. I'll just be the guy who's kind of sitting there a little bit behind copying everybody else.
You were on stage with Jamie, and Jamie knew everything.
Jamie knew it perfectly, so I'm just like, all right, cribbing off of you.
Jamie's perfect. Yeah.
I know. Oh, it was so insane, but absolutely fucking huge shout out to Mix and to Sam and JCCP in general and just everybody who did Reefer Madness. It was probably one of the most stressful yet still fun things that I've ever done. I really hope the community gets to keep doing Reefer Madness. I probably will take a closer look at it before I'd ever do it again, but God, it was fun.
Wow. First of all, yeah, huge shout out to Mix, who is the most knowledgeable and like meticulous and detail-oriented director who I've ever seen work, but they're also like so gentle about it. It's so impressive. When we did the rehearsal in our hotel room, they're sitting there like, listen, whatever happens on stage, I know that everyone is like putting in their best effort and they're working as hard as they can. But also, if you don't like quite know the dance yet, Aaron, if you could like learn it before the show tomorrow, that would just be clutch, man. But also, just try your best, but it's left, right, not whatever it is you're doing.
Oh, it's not stumble.
I loved Reefer. It was the most fun I've ever had on stage, getting to play May. She was great. And yeah, if there's one thing that I hope carries on to future cons, it's absolutely this show. They did a phenomenal job just orchestrating it and making sure it got put together well. And what a fun ass show. Everybody I performed with was like really, really happy to be there and excited about the show itself and like the content. I don't know. It just had a really, really good energy just amongst the cast. It was a lot of fun. Also, real quick, I want to shout out Nell, our former co-host of the show, who did such a gorgeous job playing Mary. Holy shit. I had a dance mom moment where I was watching them through the curtains do Romeo and Juliet up top, and I got a little choked up watching them perform. It was really, they did a really beautiful job, and we had just had so many moments leading up to it being like, oh my god, we'll do Reefer Madness together. What if we both audition for the show? How fun would it be? And getting to like have that finally happen was a lot of fun. So, yeah, great job.
Oh, it was so good. And I mean, everybody, fucking Mary Sunshine. Holy shit. Wow. I don't know where to go on that. Just fucking wow.
Gretchen's incredible.
Oh, that whole show. Huge props to everybody who performed. Everyone was so good. And like, for putting fucking 40 people on stage. That is no easy task and made so much more difficult for such a complicated show where you have no clue what you're doing in it if you've never done it before. I loved it. It was a great show.
Unfortunately, I was not able to see Reefer Madness due to personal issues. I really wanted to, me and Andrea both, but it didn't pan out, and I'm going to be watching the recording later this week, hopefully.
So after Reefer wrapped up, I was dead, but the day was not done, not by a long shot. And I can't believe I forgot to mention it. While we were scrambling to come down for Reefer, Dr. Horrible was going on.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That was fucking cool. Love seeing that. I wish I got to see more of it.
I got to sing along backstage. That was fun.
Oh, I love Dr. Horrible. Oh.
Yeah, so good. And the chocolate-covered Rocky panel was earlier in the day, which I was not able to catch. That one, put it up online. Let me watch it. Like, ugh. I'm kicking myself on that one, but there's just so much going on this day.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Something had to give. But yeah, so as soon as we finished Reefer, we were running back up to the hotel room and quickly throwing on our wedding clothes.
Throwing them into the suitcase, the biggest suitcase in the entire world.
Yep, throw them into a suitcase, get on the bus over to the Stadium Theater, where it turned out we were balls early. We definitely did not need to get on that first shuttle bus. That was not meant for us. So that was okay. We got over to the theater and we had a 5 p.m. brunch with a bunch of friends in the community. That was super cool. A bunch of us went over to this little pub that was over there, and it was, there was some food before the big show.
The pre-shows started at 7. Was the first pre-show the FNS pre-show?
Yes.
Ah, fantastic. We got there, as that was beginning. I was worried we may have, missed one, but that's really cool to know. The pre-shows were so cool. I would say, second, first best part of the big Grand Rocky show, perhaps. The thing I mentioned earlier, the French song with the stripping and this stuff.
Lady Marmalade.
That was great. I don't know what the music was. It was horror kind of sort of themed. It was
Necronomicon.
The Necronomicon. Yeah, that was really great. And holy fucking shit. Jesus Christ. I mean, what? How the fuck? I mean, RKOCon's pre-show was like something I would expect to see at an NFL Super Bowl halftime. Holy shit. And if that was in a halftime show, I would be like, wow, they really upped their fucking game this year. What the fuck, man? And it's crazy because the people before them did really good too. And I was impressed, and I was like, yeah, these people put work into their pre-shows, and this is a fun little watch. I'm so blessed that I get to see all these other casts putting their work into their little thing. And then RKO was fucking the Godzilla of the whole thing. I am still mind blown that shit happened. And God, Jesus, God.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason that Meg and I like to do Betty and Ralph at cons is you get to see all of the pre-shows. Mm-hmm. And oh my God, were they good this year. Huge fucking shout out to Nick from TMP.
Yes.
The audio cut out in the middle of him doing You'll Be Back from Hamilton, and did not miss a fucking beat, and the entire audience decided to sing along instead. Literally, you could not have planned this to be a more interactive and fun pre-show. Absolute huge shout out to Nick. That was so cool. Fucking Lady Marmalade, Buffalo, wow. I don't even know how to, wow. Absolutely fucking wow.
That was really impressive with You'll Be Back, because I remember sitting there when it happened and thinking, well, this has to be part of it. The audio must have intentionally been cut out, and there are people from his cast in the audience who were there to pick it up. And to realize that it was no, the audience was just ready for it and just did it is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. That was so good.
I had such a moment during Nick's pre-show where I was like, man, I haven't watched Nick do a solo pre-show in like 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little choked up.
Aw.
Because, like,
so good.
his are so iconic. And then we got to sing. That was fun.
Oh, it was so good. I loved the Necronomicon. Like, Evil Dead the Musical is one of those that, like, if you're in the Rocky Sphere and you haven't seen this thing, like, look it up on YouTube or something. I'm sure there's a rip of it somewhere.
So
but, like,
cute.
it's a great, great fucking show. And JCCP just knocked it out of the park on that one. That was so much fun.
Getting to watch them all, like, wander around backstage in the little dressing rooms as zombies was
right?
amazing.
And like Jacob said, RKO, congratulations. You have fucked up the curve for everyone. So,
right?
I don't know where you're going next time. Good luck. Because that was fucking insane. Huge shout out to Zephyr for all the editing work that went into that. Huge shout out to all of RKO that put just so much time and effort into it.
And T for the buttholes. We wouldn't have had nearly as many buttholes without you.
Yeah. And yeah, let's shoot Roy out of a cannon at every con. Why not?
Right?
Yeah.
Next one's 50th. We got to shoot him out of 2 cannons.
2 cannons. But yeah, pre-shows were fucking great. And then we got into the rest of hosting. The MC and awards part of the evening, where Roy took the stage and got to be everybody's daddy and all of us his little ducklings. And yeah, that was super cool.
Yeah, there were also awards, and they were really cool.
Yeah, we got 2 community awards this year, which I feel like doesn't happen very often. Keisha Autumn received a new award, the Guiding Star Award, for her work towards helping keep our community a safe place.
Absolutely. That was fantastic. And Becky Milano Kaporis received an Atlas Award for being an amazing cast leader, costume just mega mind, and literally just an all-around bad bitch. This has been coming for years and so well-deserved.
You guys said you were surprised that 2 awards were given out. Is it usually like only 1 award or more than that?
It's usually just 1 that I've seen.
It's kind of a crapshoot. It depends on year by year. Some years they won't do any. Some years they'll do 2 or 3. Some years it's only 1. So it was really good to see the community get back in the pattern of recognizing these people that have done absolutely phenomenal jobs and are standouts and deserve to be recognized.
Yeah.
And then we had the big All-Star Show! It was wonderful to get to see all the crazy hard work everyone put into their performances.
Yeah, oh my god, these are always so much fun. Let's go. What was everyone's favorite part? Did everyone have a favorite bit?
Well, I'm going to say once in a while. I mean, I'm going to steal it right off the bat. Once in a while. I love it that we do it at cons, and this was like the coolest way to see it be done. It drives me so fucking happy to see that little bit of Rocky history put back in there, to see people doing it. But man, other than that, like, I love seeing Transylvanians. I love seeing a whole fucking stack of Transylvanians on stage. That just makes me so happy because it's something we don't get at most regular shows. And I had so much fun. It was such a great show.
All right, so Aaron has changed his to the Transylvanian, so I'm going to take over the once in a while because yeah, I was having a hard time thinking about what really like stood out to such a degree, but oh my god, that once in a while, that was like hilarious and endearing and something I had never seen before, which I feel like is a lot to say about a show you have been doing and watching for like so many years. Yeah, I was like blown away, and before that point, I was kind of thinking like, I don't know, this isn't maybe not my vibe. Like I can't hear myself do callback lines. I don't feel like I'm interacting with anyone. And then that happened, and I was like, wow, I am so glad I got to see this.
Again, I feel like this is total nepotism, but my favorite part of this was getting to watch our cast member Eric perform as Brad.
Oh my god, yeah.
He's the first cast member who I think I've had who I've brought on as a cast member, as a director, who's performed in a con show. I think he was my first duckling who's like gone up and done it.
Wow.
And he like came out on stage and we're sitting there in the balcony and it just like kind of slapped me in the face. I had a moment. I had a lot of feelings during this con, you guys. But yeah, no, I did get a little misty. And Aaron was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, why is watching him perform making me like emotional?"
I'm just so proud.
And I couldn't figure it out. And it took me a minute. And I was like, I think he's the first one. I think I'm just really proud of him.
Oh, it was so good.
He was great. He was so good.
I loved getting to see Pony Boy and Mix do a whipping scene.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was a spicy meatball. Loved that. That was so much fun.
And I liked getting to watch Erica kill Nick.
Oh, yeah. Man, spousal abuse.
Right?
We got it right here at the Rocket Hall Picture Show. Oh, it was so much fun. I loved it. It was great performances all around, and just
yeah, everyone did.
I love a good
solid
concasted
job.
show. I love a good concasted show.
All right. And then after the show, we all fucking piled back into our buses to the hotel for the after party. Or should we say the Jellicle Ball? Because some of us orchestrated a very silly impromptu cats night that happened to line up really well with the RKO pre-show, which we didn't know. It was me and Eric and Teeb and Justin and a whole bunch of people kind of decided very stupidly that we would just dress up as cats on Saturday night. And again, I think the decision for that night had a lot to do with the pre-show. And a lot of people ended up doing it and participating just to be funny and weird, even if it was just putting on like cat's ears and a little bit of makeup or something, you know? But I didn't expect there to be as big of a turnout as there was. We had a lot of people get in on it, and there was cats karaoke, which was really silly, and everybody kind of did the choreo who knew it. And I think a bunch of them had learned it for the pre-show. And watching everybody kind of pounce on Roy was just fucking 10 out of 10. We have videos of it. Hit us up.
Can we talk for a minute, though, about the youth hockey team that was hanging out on the patio?
Is that what they were?
They were a youth hockey team. I think they were high school.
Yeah.
But it's these kids who were in like a hockey tournament or something, and they're out there on the patio for half of the night with a big ass boombox. Like their hockey dads are drinking over in the corner, and these kids have no idea how to interact with this flock of Rocky people, that their typical bro, I'm a jock attitude is just not winning them points, and they don't know what to do. A bunch of people went over and interacted and talked with them. I saw, a lot of people that were, showing them a good time and whatever, but they were just so funny and out of place, which is honestly one of my favorite things to see at Rocky, is a bunch of normal people not knowing how to interact with the Rocky community.
Roy made best friends with all of them. He was dancing with them the whole time to their music and just rocking out. It was incredible. He's such a fucking champ.
But eventually, the hockey boys had to go be tucked into bed, and, 5 or 6 hours later, all of us crashed at the crack of dawn and went back to nurse our own respective con hangovers.
Something I want to mention, I don't remember which day it was, but FBC hosted that that little like poker shindig, and that was really fun. I got to see Eric Garment, who I haven't seen since. I mean, I've seen him here and there. I ran into him while I was like biking in New York City once, but I haven't like talked to him. I got to see him, and Molly and Marty was also at my table, and Matt Avant was also at those tables. It was just a ball, and also like props to FBC. That was like a lot of work that they didn't have to do, and they just did. They were like sexy little people waltzing around, handing out drinks and taking drink orders for free, which I thought was wild. Like 5 times, people in scantily clad clothing just came up to me and was like, "Hey, do you want a drink?" And I mean, I didn't say anything because I want to be polite and not take advantage, but holy shit, it was there. If I wanted a sparkling soda, I could have got one, no charge.
Wow.
Oh, man. Yeah. Judging by some of the stories from that, I think I might have to play in one of these years, because it sounds like you all suck. So
Next time.
I'm coming for you.
Grr.
Err.
I mean, the whole weekend. The whole weekend was such a fantastic time. I mean, we just have to thank Roy and the entire team over at RKO for just putting on such a lovely party. Like, we had a fucking blast. It was so good to see everybody in person after so long and so much bullshit over the last couple years. And I mean, I cannot wait for the next time that we're all able to get together as a big old family, whether it's a con or a hangout or just one of those mini community get-togethers that we've been, traveling to see each other lately.
And the power of friendship unites us. No. I'm 100% with you. It was such, actually, everyone put so much work into everything, and I congratulate, the people who set that up and who made that event. RKOCon is something I have been dreaming about for a long time, probably since the last RKOCon, and I didn't go to that. But I went there, and I don't know if it was for me. That doesn't mean it wasn't a fantastic, amazing event, and I had a lot of fun. But if you went and it wasn't your vibe, that's cool too. I'm not a big partier, and I'm not sure if I'll go next time. But I had a blast at a lot of this stuff too.
Well, I'm a big partier, and it was absolutely for me, and I will schlep my ass to the next hangout, the next con, the next event. I'll go up to Buffalo, I'll go out to Pittsburgh, I'll go anywhere if it means we get another fun party weekend with a bunch of you people, because you're my favorite.
And actually, we would be remiss if we didn't point out that at the tail end of the Rocky show, we did get to find out the next big conventions that are coming up. Next year, we are all taking the trip to New Jersey. That's right, Rocky takes the Garden State August 3rd through 6th, 2023 in Somerset, New Jersey. I'm pumped for this. FNS is running this con. It's at njrockycon.com for all the info that's been released so far. You guys aren't going to want to miss it because it's going to be just as big of a blowout as RKO.
And then we're going to Pittsburgh.
That's right, guys. 2024 Pittsburgh. All yins get out there. It's going to be a fucking amazing time with the JCCP. That con is, we're gearing up, getting through their planning stages. They've been announced, and oh my god, YinsCon was so good. I cannot wait for the second one. But it wouldn't have been a complete set of announcements without Roy telling us about plans for the 50th. And you know where the party's going to be. 50th anniversary. Fox can go do whatever the hell it wants to do, but we're going to be in Providence with the RKO Army. It's going to be so much fucking fun. Can't wait for that. So yeah, if you missed out on RKOCon this year, we've got a bunch of fucking great events lined up for the next 3 years, and you're going to want to be there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as much fun as big get-togethers are, next up in community news, we've got a little bit of a bummer as we say goodbye to Rocky's most iconic get-together with the Timewarp Picnic.
Oh, man, really? Why?
The shittiest reason of all, money. Just this week, the fan club group made a post to the Timewarp UK website stating 2022 will be the last picnic for the foreseeable future. We'd hoped and planned to continue to run the event every year, but when we were given prices for the 2023, we were quoted a non-negotiable rate of £665 per room plus breakfast. That's up from a room cost of £270 back in 2021, I do say. We do not want our event to become something that only the really well-off fans can afford. The original point of the picnic was that we could stay at Oakley Court, get to wear our Rocky costumes, and have a picnic at a cheaper price than normal room rates. We love being at Oakley Court, but we cannot expect fans to pay more than double the cost of 2 years ago.
Ugh. Man, I mean, it blows, but also I totally understand it. You want Rocky to be something that's for everyone. And making the big annual gathering something that's only accessible to people who can throw down $800 for a night at a hotel room is definitely worse than just canceling it altogether.
I mean, you're not wrong. Oakley's gone through a lot of shit over the last couple of years, a lot of changes in management. And this is really the end of an era, but I mean, it's also a very difficult decision, and I think it's been made for the right reasons and with the very best of intentions. We here at Rocky Talkie want to thank the UK fan club for hosting all of the wonderful Timewarp picnics up until now. I had the fortune of going to 2 of them, and I had some of the best times of my life there. And thank you for having the presence of mind to make this difficult choice. We hope that everyone across the pond has a wonderful last hurrah this upcoming week for the Timewarp Picnic.
Last up in community news, community photographer Lauren Everett recently posted an update to the People Like Us Facebook page.
For those of you who might not know, People Like Us is a gorgeous coffee table photo book that was published back in 2015, featuring pictures and anecdotes from Rocky casts all across the country. Lots of people you know are in this book, especially if you've been around the community for a few years, and it's fun to look through in the same way a high school yearbook is. The photos are wonderful and the stories are really freaking cute.
So anyway, Lauren made a post to the book's social media page this last week, and she was laughing about the fact that her book can now be found on Amazon for the high price of $764. That is approximately 1/5 of a Frank jacket.
Gotta have 2 highs in there because you know whoever made that price was blazed off their ass when they did. She went on to state that since the book was funded by supporters back when it was published, she's decided to permanently lower the cost of the book. Holy fucking shit! To permanently lower the cost of this $764 book to $20. I studied economics, and there's this trick where like McDonald's will say that the large people manipulate prices to make you buy things when they're not actually that expensive. But that's incredible. Like I don't know, I can't tell if I'm being manipulated and the book isn't worth $20 and the $764 was just like a sticker price that I was already going to be talked out of. But that blows my fucking mind. Shit.
I can answer this. Lauren refuses to sell the book on Amazon. So these are Amazon resellers who are selling this book at a majorly inflated price because I guess they're not available around, like they're hard to find.
Yeah, if you go online looking for this book, you can kind of find it occasionally on eBay or on AbeBooks or, Amazon, obviously. When it's not Amazon resellers, you're generally looking to pay about 60, 70, 80 bucks for a copy of this thing. But that's still a huge markup over the $20 that Lauren is offering to the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. And for those of our community members who really want to check out a copy but seriously can't spare the money, she's willing to send you a copy for just the cost of shipping alone so that everyone in the community has access. What a freaking saint. God, this woman sounds amazing. Mind you, this is all honor system based, so please don't take advantage. But if it's something you've always been dying to see but can't afford the cost, you can reach out to Lauren and she'll hook you up. Lauren, you are such a G. My God.
Right? It was such a sweet offer. I was blown away when I saw this. But yeah, all the deets for how to order the book are linked for you in our show notes. It really is a wonderful slice of life for our community, and we strongly encourage anyone who's looking to spice up their living room coffee table or who's in the market for a fun, unconventional gift to go check it out.
And speaking of fun, unconventional gifts, it's time to ask a question. Bum-ba-dum-bum. Happy 47th birthday, bitches!
Yay!
Am I that old? Fuck.
This last week was the 47th anniversary of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, premiering in theaters. It premiered in London on Thursday, August the 14th, 1975.
But we've been saying it's the 47th anniversary all year. RKOCon was billed as the 47th. You can't tell me that was all a lie. Are you sure about your facts there?
Why do you ask, Mr.
Roger Gordon?
Mr. Roger Gordon. I see.
My partner's cousin had himself a problem with the Rocky Horror, and I've done some reading, and there's nothing more addicting than that stuff.
Roger Gordon. Russian name, isn't it?
It's... What? No! Portuguese!
Of course, of course. I certainly applaud your brave unwillingness to believe something simply because it's on a podcast with the word Talkie in the title. You stand as a shining example to your comrades.
And the rest of us.
My partner might have mixed up the story. I think you're right. You're right. It is the 47th anniversary. It's bad stuff.
Bad stuff indeed. If only it were mere heroin. So yay. Happy 47th birthday, Rocky Horror.
Wait, heroin? Irregardless. Not that I don't believe you. I just... August? In London? What about the Waverly? And all of that? It didn't premiere in New York?
Oh, you sweet summer child.
All right, it's August 14th, 1975. The Rocky Horror Show has already been a smash success in London. It was a slam dunk at the Roxy in LA, and it failed miserably on Broadway. But that's okay. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is already in the can and ready for its big international release.
And it's a film born in the UK. It should premiere in London. And what better venue to launch than at the famed Rialto Theatre in London's Leicester Square?
Oh, yes, the Rialto. How silly of me.
Okay, so this was actually a really sweet venue for a movie premiere. The Rialto was one of the West End's oldest cinemas. It opened in March of 1913 with a near 700-person capacity. From the outside, it looked a lot like your average American cinema, but inside was a barrage of Edwardian plasterwork designed by Horace Gilbert and architected by Hippolyte Blanc. There was a small cafe on the first floor of the building, and in the basement was the Elysee restaurant, which later became the Café de Paris, which was a big night spot. Shortly after it opened, it became the first cinema in London's West End to have neon signage.
Oh boy, neon!
Keep it in your pants.
No, neon is super cool! Who doesn't love basking in the warm light of a red XXX while you fumble through your wallet to see if you got 50 euros for the lady in the window to throw at her on her titties and watch the red marks form?
Those aren't facts. It's just a shitty story of your trip to Amsterdam. Plus, they accept cards. Everywhere accepts cards.
Did you know the foundations of neon signage technology can actually be traced all the way back to 1675? Shut my mouth, I don't believe that. Even before electricity, French astronomer Jean Picard noticed a small glow of light emitting from mercury in a barometer tube. If you shook it due to the static electricity, it fluoresced. Then, in Germany in the late 1850s, glassblower Waka Waka, Heinrich Geissler, and physicist Julius Plucker produced tubes that were used in labs and by miners in France. These didn't all contain neon. Many used other gases like carbon dioxide and mercury vapor. The technology eventually worked its way into commercial uses like signs and lamps in the 1890s. It wasn't until 1910 that French inventor Georges Claude invented the neon glowing tubes that resemble modern neon lights. He showed off his invention in Paris at an expo later that year, but wouldn't patent the invention until 1915. So, for the Rialto to have a neon sign in 1913, well, boy howdy! That really resonates with how high-end this theater was. Let me tell you what! Great fact!
Okay.
Welcome to the Lighting Fixtures podcast. This week, neon.
Listen, as the light of many people's lives, this is a subject I know like the backside of my penis. You know, because I fuck on top of a mirror very often, I know what that looks like.
There it is, Jacob's back.
Okay, so the Rialto Theater opens in 1913. It's got success throughout the early 20s. In 1924, it undergoes a complete remodel and is renamed to the Rialto Cinema. Until the early 30s, it operated as a British subsidiary of Universal Pictures, mostly showing studio films from that era. Remember, this is when movie studios could still actually own movie theaters. They monopolized the entire industry.
Something that was broken up by the Hollywood antitrust case in 1948. Good thing Hollywood studios can't control the means of watching movies anymore. Totally unrelated. Did you see Disney Plus is bumping up subscription prices and adding an ad-supported tier?
Huh, go figure.
Thank God I work for Mighty Mouse.
Anyway, throughout the 30s, the Rialto served as an art house cinema, and in 1933 became a newsreel theater. That only lasted about a year before the Associated British Cinema theater chain took over in 1934, and they operated the theater until the early 40s.
As World War II ramped up, the Rialto was taken over by an independent operator in 1940. However, the theater would see some of its darkest days in March of 1941. At the tail end of the German bombing campaign of London, widely known as the Blitz, a bomb penetrated the Rialto's roof. Passing straight through the auditorium, it traveled down a ventilation shaft and detonated in the crowded Café de Paris nightclub in the basement. 34 people were killed.
The Rialto would remain closed and under repair until 1942, for obvious reasons. In 1946, it was sold and became an art house cinema, primarily showcasing French foreign films. It was further renovated in 1949 and leased to a French film distributor. Finally, in 1954, it was taken over by 20th Century Fox, and a further round of modifications were made to allow CinemaScope films to be screened. The last set of alterations before Rocky premiered took place in 1959.
Fox used the theater to premiere a number of films, including Repulsion, directed by pedophile piece of shit Roman Polanski, and 1965's James Bond film Thunderball, starring non-pedophile Sean Connery.
So that was a very long walk around the block, but hopefully it gives some insight into just how big of a deal this theater was. And why not? Rocky Horror was the film adaptation of a smash stage musical that had swept the world. What could go wrong?
In the lead up to the premiere, advertisements flooded the radio. This was the first ever radio advertisement for the Rocky Horror Picture Show, aired in August of 1975.
Thrills and chills, gorgeous gals, Transylvanian parties, lots of laughs and sex, romance,
I'm just a sweet transvestite.
action-packed, 18 great songs, soundtrack available on Ode Records, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Certificate AA. Now exclusively at the Rialto Coventry Street.
And the premiere was a fanfare. There was a sizable crowd of onlookers and media waiting outside the cinema both before and after the screening. Patricia Quinn dressed for the occasion in a look inspired by 20s actress Clara Bow from the movie Red Hair in nothing more than a slip, stockings, and garters, sporting the hairdo from the film.
Wait, so Patricia Quinn went to the premiere of Rocky, literally cosplaying a character from another movie. Does that make Pat the first Rocky Shadowcaster? I'm just saying.
She didn't perform in front of the screen, Mr. Roger Gordon.
You're right! She performed on the screen! I stand by my statement, and that doesn't make me a commie, you bootlicking fascist!
But by the end of the premiere, all was not well. As the audience quietly exited, the cast were deflated. "We all went to the premiere of the film and were disappointed," said Perry Bedden.
Years later, both Tim and Richard spoke about what had let them down about the film compared to the stage show. Tim said, quote, "I think it becomes a little self-congratulatory, the movie, and I was pushed to make Frankenfurter a lot more kind of camp than I'd played him on stage. I mean, I played him much more like a truck driver on stage, and it kind of got a bit of vogue. Because the great thing in the show was that most of the makeup had gone in about 20 minutes. It had all sweated off my face, and that was part of the look of it. It was grungy and punky, and the movie was all a bit kind of Hollywood for me."
I guess I can see that.
I mean, it sounds like he was lazy and didn't reapply makeup during intermission. Just saying.
Was there an intermission?
No, not in the original stage show. It ran right through. No latecomers admitted. I don't think that the show added an intermission until much later when Richard started tinkering with it again.
In a 2005 interview, Richard talks about what he had thought went wrong, and also gives me the opportunity to do my third British accent of this episode. You're welcome, lucky listeners. On stage, we were parodying B-movies. We had a problem. If we would want to be seen to be a parody or just another B-movie, we were stealing from the B-movies, and yet we were making a B-movie, and intentionally making a B-movie. Would it work? Would our audience understand what we were doing? And then we opened up, of course, and it was quite clear that the audience didn't understand what we were doing. And certainly Fox didn't understand what we were doing. I'd wondered if we'd all screwed up.
Jerry Seinfeld was in B-movie.
Yeah, that was a lot more energetic than I've ever heard Richard O'Brien be, so I apologize.
But it didn't take long for the reviews to start rolling in. London's Sunday Telegraph was kind, saying, quote, "It's one of those films in which nothing ought to work, but almost everything does."
The Guardian, however, was not. And in an oddly prescient review said that, quote, "The Rocky Horror Picture Show is, alas, exactly what I feared. A stage show that doesn't translate effectively to the screen, especially when directed by the same Jim Sharman who made it such a memorably different theatrical experience. It now seems to belong to neither medium, which only goes to prove that you must get a filmmaker to make a film."
He sure called it. Not theater, not a film, must be shadowcasting.
I mean, in this one case, you're not wrong.
But this is the UK premiere. These hoity-toity tea drinkers will hate anything fun. America understood Rocky as a movie. What about the premiere in Hollywood?
Thank you, Mr. Krasinski. That was very patriotic. So, in the good old US of A, the Rocky Horror Picture Show premieres at the United Artists Theater in Westwood, Los Angeles on September 26, 1975. And unlike Across the Pond, it was a smash success. And there was already a built-in group of fans who had seen the stage show again and again and again when it played at the Roxy Theater.
Local musician, Joan Jett, you might have heard of her, was a huge fan. Her and her band, the Runaways, frequently made the trip to the cinema to see Rocky over and over again. Fun fact, the Runaway singer Cherry Curry even donned a Frank corset for their shows. And yes, she cribbed her name from Tim Curry himself.
The LA Times had a glowing review saying that the Rocky Horror Picture Show moves fast and looks slick. In Austin, Texas, it was a bit more lukewarm. Austin American Statesman writes, "Sharman's done a rather zippy job, but all the vulgar spoofery does begin to wear thin before the movie's over. Ultimately, a matter of taste."
So at the UA Theater in LA, Rocky continued a regular release, playing continuously throughout the afternoons and evenings. It sold out frequently, but this was unique to Los Angeles. Rocky's general release in the US had only included 8 theaters, and all of them had audiences so tiny that not a single solitary theater was willing to keep the movie on.
With this lackluster response, the studio decided that the movie's New York opening, scheduled for Halloween, was canceled. No point in throwing more good money after bad.
And this is where you get that weird intermediate phase of Rocky's release, where the distributors tried to pair it as a double feature with Phantom of the Paradise. That promptly failed again.
And from there, Fox exec Tim Deegan and producer Lou Adler began visiting the UA Westwood nearly every night, trying to figure out what had worked in LA and failed across the country. And what they found was the same group of regulars returning to the theater again and again. They were singing the songs, they were identifying with the movie, and it turned out that in those original other 8 locations that didn't keep showing the film, those meager audiences they had were also the same superfans showing up again and again, night after night.
And once Lou and Tim figured out what had happened, Rocky was destined for the midnight movie circuit and the fame that awaited it. No pun intended.
I don't believe you.
I don't even know what the pun would be, so...
Fame. Rocky was in Fame.
Fame.
Rocky was in the LaGuardia movie?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, God.
I know.
So there you go. So there you go. 47 years ago, Rocky had one of the worst premieres, and it still plays in theaters today. It is now the longest-running theatrical film release in history, thanks entirely to all of you out there, the fans.
And that's our show. As always, we want to thank our editor, Aaron from Tennessee. Dude, you're incredible, especially with this episode. It's a fucking chonker. We appreciate every moment that you spend making us sound nice.
If anyone has a question they'd like us to answer on air for our Asks a Question segment, or maybe some community news they'd like us to talk about, or just a cool story they want to share with the community, we would love to include it in our show. Just go to our website, rockytalkiepodcast.com, and fill out the contact form to tell us all about it.
If you're enjoying Rocky Talkie, please help us out by rating, reviewing, and subscribing to the show. It makes the podcast more accessible to new listeners, which really helps us grow the show.
And if you want even more Rocky Talkie content, check us out on all social media. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, and we're on TikTok, all at Rocky Talkie Podcast.
We'll talk to you all next week. Bye!
Bye!
Bye, 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 bye. I have no idea what this version of Jacob, like these lines are so all over the place. I can't tell what my motivation is, guys. I'm in a liminal space right now.